11 Alive's continuing coverage of the trial of Andrea Sneiderman. I'm Jeff Hullinger along with Jessica Gable, who is an associate professor of law at Georgia State's College of Law. We're glad to have you on board this morning.
Sure.
And we are looking at the attorneys 11 Alive's continuing coverage
who have reconvened.
They are sitting at the tables this morning. Andrea Sneiderman is also there next to Tom Clegg. And we are waiting for Gregory Adams, the judge, and we are looking at the attorneys. What are we looking at right now? Is this what are we looking at right now? Is this, in all probability, a question the jury may have?
Well, it would be really early if we've got a verdict. It looks like they're standing up. It could be a question.
All right, let's go into the courtroom right now. Judge Gregory A. Adams.
But anyway, I understand. I'm just relaying what
Yes,
was written. Yeah. So I will hold on. Oh, well, here's one more. Anyway, all I can, no, you promise me, all I can do is relay what was written. I read it again. And we receive clip 63A, 63B, and it has December 28, 2010, dash entity.
I was in front of that referencing the deposition of Mrs. Greenberg. Was it the next mother? That wasn't in December.
It was about December. Is that what 63 A and B are?
That's what
Those are the two discs of the deposition.
I will double check with Ms. Carpenter. She's saying, yes, that's a deposition. That was the request.
Okay.
All right. Also, it says, this is section 1. It says, can we receive highlighters and can we receive a projector for the DVDs? What's the, let me just get responses on, let me just say, what's the position on reviewing the clip 63A, 63B, December 28, 2010? Anybody, what's the state position?
No objection.
What's it, Mr. Clegg?
No objection, no.
All right. What about, DVDs?
Well, I think it would be better if they came out here, Your Honor, but I'll leave it to the court. They can't? Okay, well, I'm being told by our counsel that they probably have to come out here.
Well, the answer is going to be no from the court, but I was just listening to y'all.
Before you sit down.
I'll sit down now.
Okay.
I concur with the second portion of what Mr. James said, Your Honor, which is if they want to watch something, I believe they would need to do so in open court. I think there are also, at least as to certain interviews, the entire interview was tendered with the expectation or understanding that only portions would be played, and if you were to give them their own DVD player, they might wind up listening to things that were not intended to be played. So I would think it should be done in the courtroom as opposed to in the jury room.
Well, yes, sir. Let me just say, lawyers, my policy is I don't respond, I don't interpret questions, I don't respond what's written. So the answer I'm telling you will be no to that request. I don't interpret. I understand what you just said, but I'm not going to interpret. No, they will not be given a DVD projector. So that's going to be no. As far as clip 63A and 63B, was that on the state side of the equation? Do you have, if there's an agreement, I would play it. Is there an agreement from both the state and defense? I think I heard a yes, that's what I'm confirming.
Judge, if there's an agreement, I'm not asking that it be done. I would prefer that it not be done. I think the answer to the question is yes, they can if the court chooses, but I'm not asking that it be done. So is there if you're asking is there an agreement that it be done, the answer is no, there is not an agreement that it be done. But I can see that if the court wants to allow the jury to see it, we certainly have an authority to do so.
What's the state's position?
They have no objection and would prefer or request that court honor the juror's request and allow them to see the clips.
It doesn't say see the clips. What it says, can we receive 63A, 63B, December 28, 2010. I understand what you just said, that's not what it is. I'm going to respond to what people ask. Of course, they'll say no, because technically they have them already in their possession.
Yes.
What this says is, can we receive, that's why we always read it multiple times to the lawyer, can we receive clip 63A, 63B, December 28, 2010 interview. That's what it says.
Yes, so I guess perhaps I'm confused. What is it that you're looking for?
Well, I just want to hear your position. Because the court's going to tell them they have them already.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
If that's the court, okay, that's wrong.
As I said, I understand what you mean. I'm saying always respond to communications that are provided directly from the jury.
Yes, sir.
And as far as the request to project the DVDs, the answer will be no. Because I'm not going to give them a projector. That's what it says, projector, it doesn't say player. Anything else from the state?
No, sir.
From the defense? No, sir. All right. Deputy Garrett, if you would bring them out, please. Reads, can we receive, semicolon, clip 63A, 63B, December 28, 2010 interview? You have that already. Can we receive highlighters projected for DVDs? No, well, you can have highlighters, but no projected for DVDs. This, I'm not sure if Roy, this one just came out, but I can read this to Roy, you can hear it as it goes through. Can we receive semicolon, page markers, which is sticky arrows, and tissues? I'll go ahead and tell you, yes, I will send out page markers and tissues will be provided. When you say tissue, you mean Kleenex tissues? Yes. What do you mean? Okay. Yes, Kleenex tissues will be available. So that'll be available, and those type of needs will be met. But yes, matter of fact, Debbie, here at this point in time, I'm going to direct you to return to the jury room and continue your deliberations. As I indicated earlier, your lunch will be between 12 and 1. Let me go ahead and give you these instructions now. So unless there's another communication from the jury, I will not have to bring you back out. But I will tell you, once you go to lunch, even if you decide to go to lunch together, do not discuss the case outside of the jury room. When you go to lunch, that room will be secured. No one will enter that room, leaving nothing that's still in place now. The evidence will be secure also. Do not discuss the case outside the jury room. So do not go to a restaurant and sit outside. Even if you decide to go as a group, do not sit outside discussing the case. Still, do not sit near anyone who may be discussing the case outside of the jury room. Once you go to lunch, do not remain upon the 5th floor, because I don't want you to interact with anyone you should not interact with. I don't want you to hear anything you should not hear. Do not read or look at any media coverage pertaining to this case. Do not go upon the internet and do any research about this case. Do not blog about this case while it is ongoing. Excuse me. Do not go to any location that may have been made reference to. At this point in time, you have the evidence that was introduced in the course of the trial, and your collective notes and your collective memories. You're more than welcome to bring something to snack, I'll eat with you during the afternoon session. Do not consume any alcoholic beverages during the lunch break. Deputy Garrett at 12 noon will turn back over to you your cell phones, smartphones, iPhones, and collect those back up from you at the conclusion of your break. Just put them in the off position. Do not receive any communication, text messages, email messages, about this case while it is ongoing. As I mentioned to you several times, the lawyers and the parties cannot talk or interact with you, and I don't want you to think they're being rude or discourteous at any time. Now you can come back early from lunch and we'll accommodate you with that, but your break is from 12 to 1. And I'll give you any additional instructions at that point in time. Any communication with the court must be reduced to writing. I will assemble the lawyers and talk with them, and then I will give you instructions at that point in time. All right? But like I said, I'm going to respond to what is written. I don't try to interpret. I don't try to read. It's just what is written. All right? But I will read anything that is communicated. As that was written, those are my responses. Follow the instructions of Deputy Garrett, and those are the tissues that I interpret it to be clear. All right, Lord, the party may proceed. Mr. James, take position on the instruction that I just said.
No objection to the instruction that you gave.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right.
May we approach your...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on, Lord. Yes, sir.
I'm Jeff Hullinger, along with Jessica Gable, the Associate Professor of Law at Georgia State University in their College of Law. So the jury comes back in. They have some requests. Does that give us any indication of a time frame as far as their decision goes?
Well, it tells us they're in it for the long haul. I mean, they're asking for some pretty basic provisions, tissues, page markers, in addition to they want to view some DVDs. So they're going through every piece of that indictment. They're reading their jury instructions, and it really appears that they're going to be there for a while. And they've already talked about they're breaking for lunch, and they're going to come back after that. So this is going to be probably an all-day thing, and it could go longer than that. Remember, this is a 13-count indictment, so there's a lot for the jury to weigh.
We are looking at the uncle of Andrea Sneiderman. He is from Philadelphia. He is the brother of Andrea's mother, Bonnie Greenberg, and he has been here for the duration of this trial and is the only one behind Andrea Sneiderman, at least at this juncture, at 10:37. So the jury now has left the courtroom to deliberate behind closed doors. Judge Adams has called the attorneys to parley in front of him. Why do that with the jury out of the room? Closing arguments have been made. Why the purpose of this sort of this discussion that is behind, kind of quiet?
So the first part of it, the judge will call the lawyers in. They'll be outside the presence of the jury. The judge will inform the lawyers as to the requests that the jury has made, or if they are asking any questions about the jury instructions or the indictment itself. And that time, it gives the lawyers an opportunity to formulate either their responses to those questions or requests, and then the judge will bring the jury back in and either provide further instruction or let them know sort of what's going on in the decisions that have been made.
All right, back into the courtroom now.
Mr. Sam, man, are you still having technical difficulties?
Sir, I was never having a problem. It was
Well, you never had problems. Okay.
no. It was the in-house system that had the problem. I'm feeding off of you guys. So when you turned it on and you was getting that buzz,
But you're good at that.
I believe now it's fine.
That's all right.
I just wanted Brad to know exactly what the problem was so he could address it. Okay.
Come on in, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. As you probably can tell, the air conditioning is working much better, at least on this side. All right, lawyers and buddies may be seated. Is that everyone? Yep. I want to make sure everybody's present and accounted for. All right, ladies and gentlemen. A method of viewing DVD. All right. Let me respond this way, although normally I don't try to interpret these, but I will not be able to send back a unit with you there at the jury room. However, if you would like to view something, it will have to be done here in open court with all the lawyers and the parties present. What you're gonna, if that's what you want to do, I'm not telling you what to do. It's up to you. You can look at whatever you want to look at. But what you're going to have to do is communicate in written form, and I will talk with the lawyers what exactly you're asking to view. And the equipment will be located, and that will be played. It may be played for you. I listen to the request first. But any viewing is going to take place in here. And as I don't normally interpret, I just read exactly what's here, but we would like a method of viewing DVD. All right. So you can go back into the jury room, and if you want to communicate with the court, write down what you want to communicate, and I'll be right here. Follow the instructions, Deputy Garrett. And I think the flags were set there. You may be seated. Any objection from the state?
No, sir.
From the defense?
No, sir, none whatsoever.
Lawyers, based on that most recent communication, if you could just stick around, if there's another communication within the next window of opportunity, I will entertain that. If there's not, I will give you direction about relaxing.
We will be in the little conference room right outside, Judge.
All right. Let's we're in recess until another communication. Thank you.
All rise.
Back again, Jeff Hellinger with Jessica Gable, the Associate Professor of Law, Georgia State and the College of Law. So the jury came back with a couple of questions. The lawyers reconvened. There you see the prosecution right now as they are smiling, waiting for the decision from the jury. So what was accomplished by this? What was requested? What was denied? What was said?
What segment or what footage it is, and then they also will have to view that in the presence of the lawyers. And so so the judge essentially denied their request for now. They may come back and say, here's the specific items we want to view on the DVD.
And why does that matter?
It matters, obviously the jury has some questions about some of the footage that they viewed during the trial. It could be either an interview with Andrea Sneiderman or more likely probably her prior testimony as they're weighing the perjury charges.
And again, you're going to be asked this repeatedly by me this afternoon, and that is, how does one read the tea leaves as that is interpreted? When a jury has questions where they want markers, they wanted Kleenex, does that sort of lend itself to believe that perhaps they have to take a look at a lot of the testimony?
I think the jury is taking a very close look at the evidence. They've asked for the page markers, they've asked for tissues, so it tells us that the jury at least is sort of settling in for the long haul on this, and they're asking for the supplies that they need. This is not going to be a short matter for them.
Here's a question off of email for you, Jessica. In July of 2012, this is coming from Joy,